There is a golden opportunity here for India. India is the most protectionist large economy in the world. Most of the protectionism India has in place is entirely because large Indian companies, conglomerates, and industrials do not want competition. You know, Trump likes making these deals. I think the age of multilateral trade is over.
Trump, in his campaign and even in his previous administration, he had imposed tariffs. At this time, he's talked about across the board 10% tariffs for all US imports. And that is, while it might be hurting China most and EU, but India would also be impacted with that. You know, how do you think that will play out in India? And with India-US relationship, will that be the biggest stress test?
So there is a golden opportunity here for India. Trump has set 10% tariffs across the board, 60% on China. My guess is the part he really means is, don't worry about the numbers, that China will be particularly hit hard by tariffs, but everybody else will face them. If you know Trump, you have to assume that this is a bargaining position. This is a kind of opening salvo. And so what India could do is try to negotiate a bilateral trade deal with Trump. And the reason I say it's a golden opportunity is because you can create a much greater sense of regularity, you can create a corridor for US-India trade, and if India has to, as a result, reduce some of its tariffs, this is actually very good for the Indian economy. The tariffs that India has in place, India is the most protectionist large economy in the world. Most of the protectionism India has in place is entirely because large Indian companies, conglomerates, and industrials do not want competition. You know, there is a 400% tariff the last time I checked on imported wines, beers, liquor. Right? That is not because you're trying to grow a local industry, in India. India, as you know, India has very complicated attitudes towards alcohol. There are some places that are dry. No, it's because there's a very large company in India that does not want competition. And that is the typical, rationale behind a lot of the protectionism in India. So if the Trump threat forces India to open up some of its markets, and in return it gets some greater access to US technology that it has not had so far, that could be a very important win for India. And, Trump likes making these deals. I think the age of multilateral trade is over. What you're going to have is these bilateral trade deals, and India could be positioned to do a good one. And by the way, if it is competing for the US market against a China that has 60% tariffs, it's going to be in a better position.